What's good? Back with another edition of the Major Music Lounge podcast, the podcast for music producers to come on, talk about what they're doing, as well as we have artists on from time to time. Today, we're going to have an artist and producer by the name of Mikey X on the show. Now, it's been quite a while. I'm actually coming back off of surgery. This is my first show since I had surgery a couple of weeks ago. Just to let y'all know, I appreciate all the get well wishes. I'm back up and running, so expect to see shows going forward. Still recovering, but doing a lot better. So again, whether you sent me a text message, whether you DM me on social media, comment it. I do appreciate you. I'm glad to be back doing shows and look out for some other things going forward. Also, with that being said, I would like to shout out Southern Tea Magazine, which is going to be a magazine based out of my hometown, Lafayette, Louisiana, which I'm actually nominated for a Southern Tea Magazine award for the favorite podcast. So stay tuned for the information where you can go and vote for me. They do have like an event. I believe it's going to be sometime in April, which they present the awards, and it's also a place for like a lot of entrepreneurs, musicians, hip hop artists in the area to go out to and perform great networking events. So stay tuned again for the information where you can go and vote for me. But if you've taken the time to listen to the podcast, if you were a guest on the podcast, I want to let you know that I do appreciate y'all, and I need y'all to go out there and show some support for the Major Music Lounge podcast. This was actually something I'm very humbled by, considering the people that are on the list. A past guest, for example, which was Mr. Fat, who also produced the Cupid Shuffle, was on this podcast, as I said, recently. And he's on the list with the Control Center. It's a podcast that he does as well, where he interviews other like producers and artists from 337 area, which is Lafayette, Louisiana. So definitely search for that on YouTube or your favorite podcast platforms. Before we get into the interview, you could actually follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Dee Dot _ major music. I'm also on Twitter at Dee Dot MME. And then if you're on Facebook, I'm trying to build that side up even more, but if you primarily use Facebook, you can actually find me on there, just Dee Dot Major Music, and go ahead, follow the page. Post a lot of the same information, some of the clips from the show, some of the actual full shows themselves, but you can find those mostly here on YouTube as well as all podcast streaming platforms. Now let's go ahead and get into the interview. I'd like to welcome y'all to another edition of the Major Music Lounge podcast, joined by artist and producer M Ecstasy. What's good, my brother?
What's going on, D Dot? Pleasure to have you. Pleasure to have me on here. Excited to be on here. Hell yeah.
Oh man, no problem at all. No problem. You know, it's good to actually have some time to kind of chat because, we talked a little bit before, but obviously had the job. We can't really talk in depth.
Right.
Now, we get a segment to kind of just speak on some of the things that you've been doing because I've been following you. I think you came down in October, maybe,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
around that time. And yeah, and I've just kind of been following you since then. And I know we talked about it before getting you on the podcast. Finally made it happen. I said I was gonna make it happen, and definitely glad to have you, man.
Yeah, it's been a couple months in the making. I think it was like late September when we first started chopping it up about music and whatnot. But again, like you said, our job very limits us on how far that conversation can go. So yeah.
Yeah. So, with that being said, I kind of know a little bit about you, your background, but how long have you been creating music?
Man, so it was out of high school. It was like 2018. I just started following this emerging rapper, underground rapper named XXX Tentacion. And he was blowing up doing crazy numbers. And that was the first time I became like a fan of somebody. And that slowly evolved to me putting him on to all my friends and playing his music everywhere. And then he ended up passing away shortly after, like too soon. So I was like, man, Like I fell in love with music and just wanted to. I saw that and wanted to recreate something like that.
Yeah, that's kind of, the vibes when I listen to some of your tracks that I get from just listening to some of your music. And to me, you kind of have a background not only in, I guess, that trap style of music, but also, I listened to some of your stuff earlier. You were doing a little bit of pop, and then you talked about also doing a little bit of electronic dance music.
Hmm.
What is it like? I mean, as far as being a creator, do you kind of like, because I know artists and producers, we create off of vibes. We
Yeah.
wake up one day, we're having a good vibe. We might come out and create, just something chill. But then
Hmm.
maybe, if you're upset, if you got some anger in there, you might make some hard trap or something. So,
Totally. Totally.
what I guess where does that inspiration come from? Like, do you say maybe for an album or something, I want to do all an album of maybe dance music, or I want to do all an album of trap, or I want to kind of mix up the album and have different vibes on it. Where does
Yeah.
that inspiration come from?
Honestly, a lot of my inspiration, so flashback to 2019 when Juice WRLD died, RIP Juice WRLD. I tweeted out, if you were to die, Juice WRLD, I'd never listen to no one ever again. And a year later, flash forward, he ended up passing away. So I stopped getting inspiration from all these rappers, from all these musicians, and I kind of just started looking for it within me and with my little crowd, my bubble of friends to draw inspiration from, because I was done idolizing these famous celebrities who I never even would ever come in contact with. But on a day-to-day basis, I'm very driven on emotion and raw energy. So whoever I invite to the studio, like I really try and read the room and recreate like whatever I think they're feeling. And likewise, if I'm by myself, my girlfriend, she calls me a scatterbrain. So I'm just whatever I'm on, whatever I'm feeling. And I don't really think too much into it. I just put something down on the MIDI and whatever comes up of it is, I guess, how the vibe for the night.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, because I've done it that way as well. Like I may actually write a song first
Yeah.
and then build the song around or build the beat around the lyrics that I wrote.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
it's just the vibe that I'm putting out at the time. And aside from that, I may I got to the point where there may be an album where I want it to sound more of a like old school hip hop type of
Yeah.
album. But then there may be an album where I kind of want it to sound maybe a little bit down south or a little bit West Coast, whatever that
Mm-hmm.
looks like.
Yeah.
And I understand that side of it too, just building my vibe based off of how I feel, whatever direction I want to go in. So I could definitely relate to you on that. What are you, I know do you still use Logic or you use something else for your beats?
Man, honestly, like I try and be so versed in every single different DAW, like Logic, Fruity Loops, Ableton, and now I'm like taking a class on Pro Tools because you never know which artist is gonna walk through that door and prefer a certain one over the other. And like once I get my mix down and once I have the mix, you could basically do it in any different DAW. It doesn't, you're not limited to nothing.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I like Pro Tools for vocals, Ableton for house music, Fruity Loops for making like trap beats, hip hop beats, and Logic if I'm working on like an R&B with an R&B artist and I want like super clean vocals. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I've kind of gotten that way as well. I could definitely understand because I use a variety of different things. Logic, I do pretty much most of the vocals in. I've actually started making a lot more beats in Logic as of late, but what I always kind of go back to is Machine and MPC. And then of course I got the iPad with Beatmaker 3.
Yeah.
That's just something I like to have in my arsenal, especially like when I'm on the go, I could just open up Beatmaker 3 and get something going in a couple of minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I
That's
always
so
do.
fire.
Yeah, yeah, man. I love Beatmaker, man. iPad is probably one of the best untapped resources in music production, man. A lot of people sleep on the
Man.
iPad.
Even me, I definitely am sleeping on it right now. I definitely am.
Man, definitely. check out, well, if you haven't dabbled much in GarageBand,
Yeah.
I suggest, checking it out. And then
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Beatmaker 3, I mean, you might be able to find that one on sale from time to time, $10.
Yeah.
But outside of that, I mean, it's regularly 24.99. It's just a matter wherever you find it. But I
Mm-hmm.
like that one because it actually reminds me of making beats in Logic for some
Mm.
reason.
Okay.
It's almost like that with an MPC,
Yeah.
the sampler inside of Beatmaker 3 is on reminds me of an MPC as far as the way you chop. So
Fire.
um, yeah,
We need to
man.
definitely have a session and you got to teach me. Like, I need to learn from one of the goats for real.
Oh
Like, I
man,
really look up to you for that. Like, that's a whole different, like, set of skills that I haven't even unlocked yet.
man,
And yeah,
appreciate it. Yeah, man. I mean, I appreciate that, man. It's one of the things I've always kind of like wanted to just get into just different parts of not being a creator basically because I've gotten into posting a lot more of those videos and
yeah.
what one of the things I've always said was I could create more content by just recording things that I'm already doing every day
Mm-hmm.
and doing these other beat challenges and talking about some of the things that I use. It just been something that's kind of like I guess rewarding to me personally to be able to give
Yeah.
something back to the community. So
Yeah.
yeah, definitely, man. If you want to come through or whenever, man, we could definitely chop it up on that.
For sure. Yeah. I see all the TikToks, bro. The content's insane. The consistency's there throughout the whole the January beats. That was fire. At
Thank you.
first I was like, what is January? But now I get it, like beat jam, like it's a jam. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah. Yeah.
they got some people, man, like I want to get to this part or doing this sometime
Yeah.
next year, maybe later this year. But some people they're in a lab, they record themselves making a beat, but then next thing you know, they're on a mic in the same video, doing it almost like a
Yeah.
music video, and it's just going back and forth from them making a beat to rapping. I want to do
Man.
something like that, man. I think
Yeah.
that would be cool, especially just a short minute for like
Yeah.
TikTok and
Uh-huh.
Reels.
Right. Yeah, I feel like that's so doable for you. I feel like you're almost there. Like, I feel like what they do is they already have the beat, not necessarily made and drawn out, but they have each sound individually selected.
Yeah.
So then they just go boom, 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 add each sounds, and then they already have their preset vocal mix done, and then boom, they pull that up. You could do that. Like I could do that. That's genius marketing. I feel like in this day and age, you have to be a genius marketer to push your content out there and stand not only be out there but stand out, that's something I'm terrible at. Like I'm just posting on Instagram whatever I'm feeling and deleting it the same day and posting more. It's just ongoing just flow of thoughts and emotion that just is out there in the universe, but I don't want it to be out there too long and I just strip it away.
Yeah, man. I mean,
Yeah,
keep it
it's
out
scary.
there because a lot of people check that shit out. I check it out, but
Yeah.
like, um, that's the whole key to me to just being consistent. I think like
Mm-hmm.
one post because the way I usually do it
Yeah.
outside of like the last couple of weeks, 5 years reasons, but like the way I usually do it is I plan out what I'm gonna do for that week. So maybe on a Monday, I say, okay, I'm gonna drop a beat making video. On Tuesday, I might drop the beat that I was making in a video on my beat stars.
Yeah.
And then Wednesday or Thursday, I might do something in relation to promoting the podcast, and then I may drop the actual episode
Mm.
of the podcast on Friday. And then weekends, it's kind of hit or miss, just depending on what I'm
Yeah.
doing. But that's how I kind of like to plan my weeks. And then some weeks I'm mixing their content on a plug-in or an expansion or something that I'm
Yeah.
using just to get some not only traffic to the channel, but I feel like you got to cater not only to the other producers that follow you. At least that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
But like also the artists, because both of course gonna follow you. That's kind of what you gravitate towards. That's
Yeah.
how probably most of your friends are producers and
Mm-hmm.
artists.
Yeah.
And it just it's good for them to see you making a beat on Monday, and then a lot of times I might get a question, where can I buy this beat at? Okay, well you can buy it tomorrow. So yeah, man, that's kind of how I do it, man. Um,
Man,
Now, but I noticed though, outside of social media, you uh you do a really good job of just releasing music on all these platforms. 'Cause I noticed not only do you have like albums, you're also doing features, you're also dropping singles. Um, like I noticed though a lot of singles. Like, is that
yeah.
strategic, or tell me a little bit about how do you plan that out?
Man, so how I plan it out, well, I'm trying to get on your level, Mr. D Dot, with how organized you are with the planned releases. Like Monday having a making a beat, Tuesday uploading the beat. And you know what I'm saying? I really want to get to that point because I'm not there at all, if I'm gonna be real. I'm really just locking into the studio, locking in on a track, making sure it gets right, gets done, get whoever I need to be on it, and get the cover artist out, and boom, it's out. And that's how quick it is. Like it's a bad thing. It's like a curse, and it's also a blessing because it's a blessing that I have this creative ability and I'm able to make these tracks, but it's a curse because I'm so just nonchalant with it. I feel like it. You have to really put a lot of care, like craft and time and energy into something that ends up being like a real successful track. I feel like sometimes I get lost of that idea and I just release different music, and that low key lacks in like the production or the quality of in a sense. Um, yeah,
It's good things and it's bad things about consistently releasing music. You
yeah,
mentioned that it may not be up to the quality that
yeah.
you want it to be, but also like, and I've had this conversation with other artists and producers that they release music like this because one, it's convenient with, we just talked about all the different ways you can make music, but
Mm-hmm,
it's
mm-hmm.
convenient. Two, and I noticed another one of my friends, he does like he hadn't dropped the album, I think, in 2 years, but he might just slip in a single here and there
Yeah,
on
yeah.
Apple Music or Spotify, whatever. And he's had success doing that. Like
Mm-hmm,
he gets close to six, over 100,000 listens a year.
mm-hmm.
And uh I have gotten on to the idea of the last couple of years, especially. I've dropped shorter projects. I've done singles too, but
Yeah.
I've had better success with dropping shorter projects. And then, like, what I'm doing this year is I'm testing out something new. Like, I'm doing beat tapes in between, like, my albums as an artist,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just kind of seeing what that end result is going to be like
Yeah.
at the end of this year, like how
Mm-hmm.
people react to that more. And the reason I'm also doing that is there's several other things like, yeah, we don't get a lot over streaming or anything like that, but that I have tracks like in different publishing opportunities, and it also allows me to kind of measure, okay, well, what do people like? I see what people
Yeah.
like, you using the stats from Spotify and Apple Music and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
DistroKid, and then that might be a track where I submitted for some type of publishing opportunity down the road. So I kind of use it for that, and then of course, yeah, you get a little bit of streaming money from that. I guess you could say
Yeah.
nothing wrong with that. But I think I don't necessarily think it's always a bad idea to continuously release music, especially
Right.
with people's attention span, and then just kind of staying at the forefront as an artist. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
D Dot or Mikey X is about to release a new project,
Right.
and some people,
Yeah.
if you use Apple Music, like usually get that notification saying such and such drop a new album.
Right.
So little things
Yeah.
like that, man.
Yeah. I think in today's world, no one has an attention span. Like even students that don't have like clinically medical like ADHD or ADD, you know what I mean? everyone's so used to just feeding that dopamine release on TikTok, Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, and everyone just they don't care what's on the screen. They just want something that satisfies them. So I feel like that does take part in why it's super important to just constantly flood the feed with all these different releases and singles. And like yourself, I'm trying to just get the content out there and be visible to the world because man, like you can for me, I feel like if I was gonna drop one song per year, I would work on the song for 1 week and never touch it again because I'd be done with it. That's how
Yeah,
fast, it takes for me so damn, that takes a very mature like approach, mature like you developed yourself as a artist, like your music career is so elevated so where you're spending that much time on one track. I couldn't do that.
man. But yeah,
Yeah.
I know people that are very talented that don't drop a damn thing a year. Like, and
Man, oh,
it
it's so
just it
sad.
kills
Yeah.
me, bro.
Yeah.
Like I'm not gonna say no names on air
Right.
because I'm
Yeah.
still cool with a lot of these people, but like I told them, it's like you're very talented. Why don't you
Hmm.
drop more music?
Man.
And I see their IG, I see their Twitter, their Facebook, and they're dropping everything else but music. And time is passing by. Like I know people like you're 20, what, 3,
Three.
20,
Yeah. Yeah.
23.
23.
So that's about when I first started. So
Yeah.
I know people that I started with around that time that they all dropped out, man. They're gone. Like I'm 41 and I'm still doing this.
Hell yeah.
And a lot of them, you know, they just gave up. And it's
Yeah.
sad to me,
It's
man. And I know other people that I've been knowing since that time, they probably got 3 albums maybe. And it's sad to me because even if you don't become the biggest artist in the world, there are still several opportunities out here for you to make money off of your music and do
yeah.
other things. And I understand at times life gets in the way,
Yeah.
whether that's
Hmm.
somebody pursuing like something they're going to school for, or maybe starting a family, things like that. But
Hmm.
you should never let your talent go to waste.
Totally. Yeah. Never, bro. I mean, I feel like this past weekend proved that to me. Like, I may not be the best star, the most talented star ever, but I'm definitely someone who has passion, right? And cares about making music, just putting art out there. But this past weekend, I'm no celebrity. I don't have a million followers. I don't get trillions of likes. I'm literally just a regular human like you, like the next person. And I sold 20 tickets this weekend at my first show in Dallas. And I just moved out here from states away. And even though I had to pay upfront $300 to be a performer, I made all of that back, every dollar back. And that proves a lot. That proves that this is this is where I'm at. This is the right path of this journey I'm on. This is just the beginning, a new start. And music is timeless. You could be any age and just get into it and make a hit, and blow up. And that's what I love about music. And time does pass, but that don't mean that we could take breaks and find ourselves. Because once you find yourself and you really drop a song with passion and real raw emotion, people are gonna feel that. People are gonna sense that. And man, I can't wait for what's next for both of us.
Yeah, man. I appreciate that, man. I was noticing it was with that spot in Garland that you
Mm-hmm.
performed at.
Yeah. At the Creators Don't Die venue.
Okay, yeah, yeah. I've been following them too, and I noticed they do like this open mic. I think it's might be tonight. I think it's tonight
Oh, is it?
on Tuesday nights.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Um, and I know they do something on Thursdays too.
Mm.
But I was thinking about definitely going down there.
Yeah.
I would have came out, man. But if you're ever
Now
doing
you're
something again, yeah,
April
man.
26th.
April 26th. All right,
Yeah.
I'll keep that up, man. Um, but yeah, man, I've been thinking about getting out there and checking out Creators Don't Die. seeing, because I hear some good things about some of their
Yeah.
events, and then it's something different, part of the Dallas music scene. And last year I kind of got back out there and started doing shows, not with them, but just
Hmm.
with there's the Dallas open mic. Then I did another
Hmm.
event in Carrollton, August of last year. And I want to kind of get out there a little bit more, I guess, to network, because during COVID that all kind of got shut down, of course, but
Right.
now it's starting to gradually come back. And
Hmm.
just kind of cool to see, because I've been a part of Dallas music scene for quite some time.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of cool to see, like, it's really a lot of people about your age now, and I'm just like, man, they got, to me, it's cooler than when I used to go there years ago.
Yeah.
Now, so yeah,
It
man.
was dope. It was super crazy to see that many like people messing with the underground. Like I moved out of California, out of the Bay Area because of that sole reason. Like everyone makes West Coast sound, which I really like. I grew up on it, you know what I mean? I'm the same born in the same city as some of the biggest legends from the area. And so it's in my blood, but I had to get out of there because I was trapped in this bubble that when I perform, no one liked that new age music. But when I'm in Dallas, everyone's rocking with it. Everyone's turning up. Everyone's there for that sole reason. And it's an emergent scene. And it's beautiful to see that I was at the forefront of it. I'm in the forefront of all of this, and I'm not even from here. But shout out Dallas for real.
Yeah,
Man.
man. I could relate to that. That's how I felt. Like, I grew up in Louisiana, and
Yeah.
I I used to make a lot of, like, well, you could hear it now, a lot of like
Yeah.
old school music.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And down where I'm from, and the era I grew up in, like, I grew up when Back That Ass Up was kind of like you know, the song everybody was listening
Yeah.
to. Cash Money was on the come up, Lil
Uh-huh.
Wayne was on the come up, Master P and No Limit. I grew up around that era,
Yeah.
and I was making a different type of music than that.
Yeah.
And everybody didn't really gravitate towards that.
Mm-hmm.
So when I
Mm-hmm.
came out here, I continued to do my thing, but I kind of, nothing against like trap or anything
Yeah.
like that, or nothing, because I still made that kind of music.
Mm-hmm.
But I branched out even more, and I always felt like going to some of these events that it's like a melting pot of like just different vibes,
Totally.
and
Totally.
everybody just respects what everybody else is doing.
Facts. Like I didn't even know anybody on this lineup this weekend, but everyone in the crowd was going nuts. You know what I'm saying? We don't even necessarily need to know the lyrics or nothing, but it's the vibe, it's the presence on stage, the energy that you bring to the crowd that really like gets everyone in motion. So that's fire. Yeah, it's like a melting point. It's like a melting pot. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. Yeah,
Man,
man.
it's beautiful to see for real.
Very, very. You
Yeah.
did something recently too. Maybe not recently, but I remember a couple of months ago. Yeah, went back home for an event.
Yeah. Yeah, that event December. So I ended up missing that event because I got home December 23rd. But it was supposed to be on the 16th. But my brother JSU period, his Instagram's frequently feeling frequencies. He performed and he turned up for me, and I'm proud of you, brother. If you watching this, I'm proud of you, bro. Keep going. Oh, not only that, this dude really had a show at the DNA Lounge in San Francisco, like a 500-person event, and sold it out.
Oh man,
And and not only that, Kid Lords performed, Kid Lords and Dream Awake on the production. You already know, shout out Dream. But they turned up that night. It was beautiful to see all my family going up. It's crazy because we branching out too. I'm over here in the middle of the country. They over there on the west. Like I got family on the east. Like the world is just colliding.
man, man. Yeah, man. What you got on deck for, well, I know it's still early, we're just March 1st, but
Yeah.
what do you have on deck, for the remainder of 2023? Like, what's Mikey Ecstasy gonna be up to?
Mikey Ecstasy is dropping so much music with his girlfriend, my girlfriend, as you are, Jules. I can't wait for all this music we're gonna drop. We got album after album, single after single to just show to the world. It's on some electronic dance music type, and it's gonna be
I
crazy.
think earlier I was listening Nights. Was that her?
Nights. Yes, yes,
Okay,
sir.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
her. As
okay,
you
yeah.
are.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
love you
man, that
as
was
you
dope.
are.
That was dope, man. Shout out.
Man. Shout out to Jules.
Yeah, yeah, man.
Yeah. Yeah, she'll be on, hopefully she'll be on the podcast one day. She's like hidden from the world, I feel like. Like I feel like if I showed her to the world, she would literally blow up. Like, but she don't want it. She's so shy. She's so cute and humble, and she don't really want all that.
She
But
must have just
it's just yeah.
she must have just started doing music, huh?
Nah, she did. She did choir in high school and
But
stuff.
like but like as a performer, like as a
Oh yeah,
yeah,
just
yeah, that's
yeah,
why. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Man,
yeah.
I can remember like first time hearing my voice on a record,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like I was like, man, this shit is crazy. Like I've never done this before.
hmm
And the only reason I really started rapping was like because I was making beats first,
Yeah.
and I started hanging out with a lot of people that did music, and we used to go to the studio all the time. And I remember putting in on some of these sessions. So I was like, if I'm putting in on this shit, might as well
Right.
get in the booth myself.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
it didn't sound nice at first,
hmm
but eventually you're gonna find your voice, you're gonna find the right tone, you're gonna find the right demeanor on this record, you're gonna find the right beat to fit your vibes.
Yeah.
That was also the other thing, because yeah, back when I first started, I was doing a lot more like trap records. Like you wouldn't you go back and listen to my old shit, man, like you wouldn't even know, you wouldn't be able
Yeah,
to
yeah, yeah,
get
yeah.
the parallel between the two.
Bro, we gotta find those, bro. We gotta find those.
It's on anything from probably like 2011 to
Like
about
MySpace, you had that
2017.
MySpace page back then?
I did, but I don't have nothing up there. At least none of the stuff that I released, like
Yeah, yeah.
commercially or anything like that. But like any of the stuff you find from probably about 2011 to 2017, that was
hmm
probably like I would consider that my trap era.
For sure, for sure.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
man.
tap in and find it all, bro. It's all gonna come to fruition one day.
All gonna come to fruition, man. So I can go there, man. Like wherever I'm making some trap or whatever, man,
hmm
I can go there,
Yeah.
man.
Hell yeah. That's the thing about music too. Over the years, I feel like as you keep making this music and progressing, you know so much. You can do so much for anybody. You know what I mean? I just know, like, imagine if I had all the skill set that you have in your brain right now, how crazy of a artist that would be. We got to collab. We got to make some.
We're gonna definitely collab, man.
Yeah.
You gotta come by the lab or I'll pull up on you or whatever, man, and we'll make it happen.
For sure. For sure. It's good. Either way, I got the setup here. I got the nice, what I'm saying, space for all this. So whether you come or whatever, what I'm saying, it's good.
Yeah, man. It's gonna be long overdue, man.
For sure. Months in the making. But yeah, I still need to so back everybody listening, I bought a beat off of D Dot Major Music about a couple months ago, and that's gonna drop soon. It's gonna be a crazy collab, y'all. It's kind of a different vibe, slower vibe I've been on lately, but it's definitely a vibe that is long overdue, and it's gonna just show y'all what I'm really capable of rather than just screaming on some crazy 808 beat. It's gonna be more melodical, beautiful.
I'm looking forward to it, man.
Yeah.
Anytime I hear a new voice over one of my tracks, man, it get me excited personally.
Yeah.
Uh,
I'm glad I could do that. I just try to be a light, light to everybody, a resource to anyone.
and I also appreciate you just supporting me and my work and everything, man. So if
hmm
there's anything I can do for you, please let me know, man.
Man, respect. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir. What kind of shout outs do you have, man?
What kind of shout outs? I want to shout out my big brother, Dream Awake. He is goated. He's a producer out of San Jose, and he's really just on the forefront of the game. Literally, he produced on the #1 hip hop album right now on Apple Music and Spotify. And He just tapped in with me last night. He's been sending me beats for a little over a year, and I've been supporting his campaign. And I just owe him everything. I feel like he's a big mentor to me and someone who's advocated for me, helped me grow, gave me the sauce, brought me into the stew, and made me music. And I seen that, and I respect that. And shout out Dream, y'all. Shout out Dream. Dream that shit go dummy.
And then where can our listeners, find you online and all of your work?
Online, Instagram, that's probably the best way to reach me. I got it. That's like the most organized way to meet me. Just got because I got my DM pretty organized right now. So at MXTC Music, MXTC Music. I'm really trying to figure out a way to make that sound more fluid. But on YouTube, MXTC, SoundCloud, MXTC, and yeah, DM me. That's the best way to reach me, to be fair.
And before you go too, I noticed too, you've been doing some stuff on TikTok as far as reviews.
Yeah,
How's that going
yeah.
for you, man?
Yeah, so I decided to, since I make music, I want to just, be another like set of ears for another artist. I feel like making music, you always want to, I mean, what's the point of making music if no one's gonna hear it? So I want to listen to people and give them my 2 cents. So I go on TikTok and people comment their artist name and the song name, and I give them like a 3 minute little honest review. And whether that be positive or negative, like I'm just being completely honest and trying to help them grow and not just bash people, but like really give them advice to get better.
Have you had anybody you have to give negative feedback to?
I haven't. Honestly, like I've been there. Like I literally some of the feedback I gave to that gentleman, like I literally still make on a daily basis. Like, you gotta take everything with a grain of salt. And just because someone doesn't like it, that doesn't mean that it's bad. It's just maybe they don't understand the vision, and the energy you're trying to, or the point you're trying to give across. But yeah, so I give negative feedback to anyone who I feel like, can improve and who wants to hear it. Like, it takes someone a lot of courage to even put their song name in the comment section for me to review. So I respect that, and they deserve my honest opinion on that. So I'm gonna just be real, keep it 100 and keep it pushing.
Yeah, I get that. Like, it's almost kind of like sports, for example. Like,
Yeah.
if you get one of these people on ESPN, for example, like a lot of people like to go at Kevin Durant.
Mm-hmm.
And what I always say is, if you're talking about the game of basketball, what somebody did in the game, and you're not insulting them as a person or anything
Yeah.
like that,
Yeah.
or
Yep.
throwing dirt on their name. I
Mm-hmm.
think that's all straightforward. Like, when it comes to music, you may tell them, oh, your mixing is, you might need to do something better with mixing,
Right.
or I don't know, your delivery could be better,
Mm-hmm.
whatever that looks
Mm-hmm.
like.
Mm-hmm.
You're pointing at something that they could address directly. And if somebody can't take that constructive criticism, then they probably shouldn't be doing music to begin with.
Yeah, yeah. And music is super subjective to begin with. Like you can really have this Grammy Award winning song, and I think it's trash, but that doesn't mean it's bad,
Yeah.
you know. It
And
yeah, I've literally been hearing that my music's trash since the beginning of
yeah,
time. And that's not gonna put me down. I literally smile through all of it and still at the end of the day get on that stage and sing my heart out because I it makes me happy,
yeah.
you
It,
know.
it and that I've been there as well. It's like, it what always fascinates me, and this is just over the years, is kind of like, um for every one person that said they don't like what you're doing, you
Mhm.
may see a lot of people. You look at probably your Spotify and your Apple Music and all your numbers, and then all the engagement that you probably have on YouTube, and then in the comment sections on all these social platforms.
Mhm.
And ultimately, the people that support you are going to kind of decide, hey, are you hot? Do we like what you're doing? And just like we said earlier, if you may not ever have the most platinum record or gold record or whatever, but if you have, I don't know, let's say you put out a song on these social platforms or whatever, and 100 people listen to your song. That's that's 100 people that you done turned into fans, and of course, if you
Mm-hmm.
continue to push over time, that's gonna do nothing but grow.
Man,
So
man. And not only that, to add on to that, actually, if you've had people like tell you that like your music saved them and like they need you, and like as an artist, that just keeps me going. Like I can't quit for that reason. Or if you've had best friends who've died who you made music with, like you got to keep going for them.
yeah,
Yeah. Hey, RIP to my brother Goonlock. He literally, I never met him in person, but he supported me and purchased beats off me and made some crazy iconic music on my beats. And long live you, bro.
yeah, man. RIP, RIP, man. Um, it's been another episode of the Major Music Lounge podcast. Mikey Ecstasy, D Dot. You can actually follow me on Instagram at D Dot _ Major Music. Same thing on TikTok. Also find me on Twitter at D Dot MME. You can check out new episodes of the Major Music Lounge podcast, not only here on YouTube, but all podcast streaming platforms. Again, another episode of Major Music Lounge, and we are out.
You can tell by my demeanor, smooth, calm, and collect. You don't see nobody cleaner, paper, power, and respect. Seen, read, and heard, sit back and peep the scene. And my hustle of the chart, moving at a different speed.